merely gave her husband a gentle nudge. But to her surprise, he splashed hot porridge in her face, and then rode off on his motorcycle to spend a wild night at the brothel. Little did he know that he would soon pay a terrible price. For the mountains were covered in deep snow. In a moment of carelessness, he fell to his death off a cliff. It wasn't until 3 days later, while the villagers were herding cattle, that they discovered Zaba's frozen corpse. The villagers immediately carried the body to his wife. But when she saw her husband's stiffened corpse, she remained strangely calm, as if she had long anticipated his death. As night fell, the villagers held a funeral for the deceased, but when they learned he had fallen to his death, they grew anxious. According to local custom, those who die an untimely death cannot be given a sky burial. Instead, the body must be wrapped to resemble an infant, and placed on a mountaintop with the great mountain as its backdrop. Only then can the soul be reborn. They had to carry the body up the mountain. After a monk offered a prayer, the villagers set off toward the summit, carrying the deceased. After a grueling 2-mile trek, they finally found a feng shui-blessed spot for the deceased. But just as the villagers gently laid the body down, a terrifying incident suddenly occurred. The body, wrapped in white cloth, moved eerily, and then plummeted toward the bottom of the cliff. Seeing this, the villagers reached out to grab it, but managed to catch only a corner of the white cloth, and so the body plummeted downward. But just as everyone stood at a loss, an even more terrifying event unfolded. The body, once wrapped in white cloth, was now completely naked as it ran deep into the mountains. In that instant, everyone was terrified. Convinced that the corpse had surely risen from the dead, they immediately rushed to inform the other villagers. And only then did the villagers realize the gravity of the situation. They assumed Zaba must have turned into a zombie. Knowing that zombies only come out at night, the villagers rushed to barricade their doors with wooden planks, since zombies cannot bend over. After doing all this, the elders gathered together to pray. However, to everyone's surprise, the next day, the zombie inexplicably appeared beside a large tree, prompting the villagers to rush over and gather around. Meanwhile, the village official had also heard about the incident. She believed that zombies didn't exist in this world, so she tried to step forward to lift the white cloth and take a look, but the villagers stopped her. A helpful villager then slowly walked up and lifted the white cloth, only to discover that it was indeed Zaba, who had died after falling off a cliff. The villagers were so frightened that cold sweat poured down their faces. They thought Zaba must have walked back on his own, but the official simply couldn't believe a corpse could walk by itself. To get to the bottom of what had happened, the female official went to the spot where the victim had fallen. To their surprise, they found a set of clothes and a fire pit. This left everyone deeply puzzled, since Zaba had been completely naked at the time. How had these clothes ended up there? Just as the case was becoming increasingly baffling, a villager recognized the owner of the clothes. Upon hearing this news, the female official quickly led a group to find the owner. It turned out that a few days earlier, while herding cattle, the boy had accidentally slipped and fallen into the river, so he lit a fire to dry his clothes. But a corpse suddenly fell from the sky. Terrified, he ran home in just his shorts. This meant that the running zombie the villagers had seen that day was actually the frightened coward fleeing in panic. Only then did they realize that the whole thing had been a misunderstanding.